What's going on, guys? It's Mike. Today we're talking Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, and that is sexy, sexy talk for YouTube kiddos. Yesterday, the Federal Trade Commission announced its final rule banning fake reviews and testimonials. And that was on August 14th. I'm recording this August 15th. I want to take a little bit of time. This has been percolating for a couple of years. I want to say like November of 2022, they announced that they're going to be looking at this. They talked again about it maybe in June or July of 2023. And then August, they've just finally done their last and final ruling. Now, I've looked at the document itself, the ruling that was published. It's over 160 some odd pages. I mean, it's long, and I skimmed it. However, they have released a press release, which one does. You release press releases. That's a high-level tip there for y'all. Jeepers. Anyway, they put out a press release on their website. This is always couched in kind of a consumer protection language. There's a terrible thing out there, all these fake reviews. Somebody's got to do something about it. Thank God us high-paid, highfalutin government attorneys can take care of it for you. But let's take a quick look here at what the Trade Commission is talking about. Here you can see the press release. And obviously, if you dig in, if you're interested, they've got a link right here to the final ruling. But moving on here, I'm going to just skim down. They highlight here a handful of things that the final rule prohibits. Let's just touch on these real quick. The first one is fake or false consumer reviews, consumer testimonials, and celebrity testimonials. Essentially, any type of testimonial that's fake people, AI-generated fake reviews, and even celebrity that reviews something that they didn't even really use. They never worked with the product. They never dealt with the company, so they're kind of misrepresenting their experience. So that would fall under that one. The next one here is buying positive or negative reviews. This is companies that would potentially pay for you to write a good review or a bad review. They're saying like that's a no-no going forward. Insider reviews and consumer testimonials. This would be where, let's say I'm a brand manager at company XYZ, and I get online and I'm Mike Gastin. I'm like, hey, this product from company XYZ is marvelous. My pots and pans sparkle like never before. Meanwhile, I'm the brand manager for that pot and pan sparkling product, but I never mention it in the review. It's okay if you go, hey, look, I'm the brand manager and I've used this at my house and love it. Voila. And buy more because Mikey needs a bonus this quarter. Company-controlled review websites. These would be sites that are controlled by a company, whether they let it be known or not. So you think it's a third-party fair website, but really this is controlled by the brand, and all the reviews look great for the brand and maybe bad for their competitors. Or you're on the company's website, and often you'll see reviews underneath product listings. Were those reviews legit? Are they unbiased or are they fake? Review suppression. Let's say somebody puts out a negative review and you try to suppress it. You try to get it buried or removed from the website. That's bad. But even worse under this is, and again, I don't disagree with this in principle. I have issues with this whole ruling, which we'll talk about in a moment. But let's say you post a bad review and my company sends the attorneys after you. We're just going to bury you. We're coming after you financially. We're coming after you legally. We're using lawyers to just intimidate you. It could even mean, you're getting threats and physical intimidation and just anything that tries to get you to either not post bad reviews or suppress a review that you put out there. And then lastly, and this one I'm going to read, this is kind of interesting, misuse of fake social media indicators. The final rule prohibits anyone from selling or buying fake indicators of social media influence. I mean, that's interesting, such as followers or views generated by a bot or hijacked account. This prohibition is limited to situations in which the buyer knew, meaning the company's buying these reviews, or should have known. Oh, you should have known that the indicators were fake and misrepresent the buyer's influence or importance for a commercial purpose. This one's a little scary in the sense that, I say scary, I've never done this, but companies will buy followers. Companies will buy likes. They'll hire agencies, that they're SEO agency and digital marketing agency, and their whole shtick is we'll get your accounts big and we'll get people commenting, and this just destroys all of that. And it's like you knew you were doing this or you should have known. So if I hire an agency to plump up my online presence, And we got a product out there, and the reviewers are just giving it hearts like crazy and great comments. And I don't know. I just assume that the agency's finding people that love my product. Well, the FTC is going to turn around and say, yeah, sorry, buddy. Actually, you should have known. And so now you're in trouble. Now, what's interesting, when I did read through the document, I skimmed it. I didn't go word for word, because the thing's like over 160 some odd pages, the actual ruling. What I did see towards the end, they say, hey, look, this isn't really going to have much of an effect. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to cost companies any more to comply with these rules. But we did a calculation to see how many companies actually would be affected by this. And they came up with like 24 or 25 million companies, small businesses, by the way, like 25 million small businesses will likely be affected by this ruling. That's 75% of all small businesses in America. I mean, there's 30 some odd million small businesses, but somehow 75% of them are going to be affected by this. But don't worry, it's not going to cost you a nickel more. Hey, what's going on? It is video editor Mike. I misspoke. Actually, they're saying it's going to cost about $860 million in compliance costs. And they're calculating that based on 1 hour of compliance per small business at about $33 times 25 million businesses. I don't know if they're thinking annual compliance, or if that's a one-off cost, but almost $1 billion, almost 1,000 million. Think about that. It's just nuts. And the other thing is, just so you know, this ruling has teeth. They will come after you. They're saying it in the document. It's going to cost you money. They'll take you in a civil litigation court, et cetera, et cetera. My question here, and I'm not an expert, but the Chevron deference ruling, I thought, defanged a lot of these commissions and agencies from being able to put law into place just because they've got some thing on the books that they say, like the EPA says you're not allowed to do this. Well, I don't know. I thought Chevron deference starts to unravel that. But now here you've got the Federal Trade Commission, 5 commissioners, by the way, 3 Democrats, 2 Republicans. These are all appointed by the president. And I think they run, I don't know if they sit on there for about 5 years. All of them lawyers, attorneys, et cetera. They put this ruling out. Is this a law? Is there the strength of the law against this? Well, they say, if you look here at this headline, the rule will allow the agency to strengthen enforcement, seek civil penalties against violators, and deter AI-generated fake reviews. And I think this part right here, seek civil penalties against violators. This ruling now becomes guidelines by which they can take you to court if you are flagrant. Now, when we talk about 25 million small businesses, I mean, think about that. This isn't, I'm a small business. I'm one guy, but I have a corporation. I run things through my business. I go out and do consulting work. I receive a little bit, a modicum of YouTube revenue, et cetera. Well, that goes into my corporation, Gastin Group, LLC. And then from there, I pay myself a salary and have some minor expenses and essentially keep this machine going. So I'm a corporation. So I'm one of those 25 million small businesses. I bet a lot of you watching are the same thing. If you're a freelancer, or this small business can be a corporation up to over a couple $100 million a year. If you're privately owned, that's technically still a small business. So 25 million of us, and they're saying probably 3/4 of us are going to be affected by this in one way or the other. So this thing has teeth. Now, I do think that there's a problem out there. We have this process of digitization, and we have kind of a system of intermediaries. And in the old world, this was all done face-to-face. You went to buy something, you went in a store, a physical store, you looked on the shelf, you got to hold the product, you touched it, maybe there was a demo, you could talk to the sales clerk, tell me about these features, and so on and so forth. But nowadays, that's like all gone, and a lot of that is the whole digital disintermediation. I feel like I always say that wrong, like I'm missing a syllable in there.
Disintermediation.
But I think I'm saying it right. Disintermediation.
Disintermediation.
Anyway, we have had this whole digital disintermediation process happening where we're stripping out the middleman. And then we're not only just stripping out the middleman in the real world where I don't have to now go to the bookstore to talk to the book dealer or the bookstore owner who then talks to the dealer who then talks to the publisher to get the book I'm looking for. Now I've stripped out all the middlemen's that there are and the whammons. And I can just go online and I can buy it online. So now I can see the book online. And the first one to really crack the code on all this was Amazon. Bezos knew where this thing could go, and it's become massive. And now I can buy everything online. So what ends up happening when you have this process of disintermediation, especially when it's digital, you're taking physical mediations. There were these things that were happening between people physically, and you're abstracting them. I'm not holding the book in my hand. I'm not able to flip it to the back and read the back. I'm not able to page through, get a sense for how much content is there. Is it easy to read? How's it, the typography? Are there good illustrations? Now I'm online. Now Amazon's been great about this. I mean, they have made it so that I can open up the book digitally. They've scanned everything. I can see photos. And then the big piece of this is the reviews. If you're curious about a product on Amazon, you just skim down to the reviews and you look, it's 4.5 stars out of 5. It's like, this is a great book. You have to read it if you're interested, in digital privacy. This is the Bible, and every once in a while you get a 1 star and you're like, oh no, the book's not good. And you read it and it's like, the book was fantastic, but it arrived with the cover scuffed. So I'm giving it 1 star. And then you're like, okay, so we're able to navigate this disintermediated space now that's become digital, that's become abstracted. It's not physical anymore. We're able to navigate it by relying on these reviews and these testimonials. And that allows us to have a sense of confidence. You see, the consumer and people in general are looking for truth, small t. I'm not talking about philosophical, necessary, objective truth, although this ties into all of it. But as you disintermediate and as you abstract things, it's harder for us to know what's true, what's real, what's trustworthy. And so we rely on things online like reviews, because the review gives us a sense of, okay, I'm hearing from many other people, and in the crowd, in the community, I can get a sense for if this is reliable. In the digital world, and even on Amazon, you don't know who is selling the product. You don't know where they're based. You don't know if they're a middle person. I want to be appropriate here, middleman. You don't know the quality of the product. You don't know if it's a knockoff, if it's a fake, and so on. So, if you're going to buy like some high-end Louis Vuitton bag, you're not going to necessarily go to Amazon and buy it unless you're looking for a knockoff. It's $100 and you're like, I know exactly what this is. This is an Alibaba special. Fair enough. You want that. However, you're probably going to go to a bigger city, a metro, and you're going to go to the Louis Vuitton store and you're going to hold it in your hands because that's a multi-$1,000 purchase. It's a different kind of gig. You want that experience so that you're getting the value, quote unquote, for your dollar. Why you think that's valuable, I don't know. But if that's your stroke, go for it. However, online, we need to find truth. And so these testimonials, so on, are important. So I get the importance of them because it's been a way that we've been able to navigate. And now that is coming under attack and has been for a while, where you can get, they're not even bot farms. I mean, they've been Chinese. You could hire these armies of people for fake news and fake comments and fake Twitter feeds, fake reviews, fake likes. I've seen click farms or just click farms. You can also see what AI is doing. When you've got an AI bot that can be controlled by anybody, you don't have to be a big corporation. We've all got access to it, and it can create thousands of reviews a minute. I mean, where are you going with that? I mean, that's scary stuff. So I get the need for the consumer to feel a sense of protection, because how do I navigate this abstracted world where I can't know what's true unless I have some certainty. And I think that certainty is taking us somewhere that is not good. Just bear with me. Now, the thing is, the market can't always regulate itself. I am not one of these guys who's like, yay, capitalism and the free market fixes everything. This is an instance, I think, where the market doesn't know how to regulate itself. It does not know. In the past, you could say, well, look, the market deals with this because if somebody puts out a crap product, word gets around. Hey, Mike's selling crap product. And then after a while, nobody buys from me. And then I'm motivated to either shut down, which is great for everybody, or get my product to be more honest, more true, higher quality, fair, and so on. And that's good for everybody. And then if I fix that problem, and then everybody wins. So the market self-regulates. But in this world, the market doesn't self-regulate. The cost to the scammer is so low, and it's so easy to set up business, drop ships, and the passive income bros, and there's just so many ways that you can do this, and there's no certainty. You just don't know who you're dealing with. And we've gotten used to that, by the way. I remember when Amazon first came out, I was a little bit like, I'm buying online. It's kind of crazy. What if they rip me off? What if they don't send me the stuff? So here we are. Okay, so certainty is important. The market can't necessarily fix this. So what ends up happening is the government comes to the rescue. The government says we can fix it. Now, Hilaire Belloc, I believe he was English and French, but he was an English philosopher, economist, maybe a theologian as well. He's probably a Catholic thinker. He wrote a book back in the 1930s. I want to say 1932. It's called The Servile State. It's a thin little volume. It's really like more of an essay. And in it, he makes a fascinating argument. He's like, look, capitalism leads to the servile state, to a state of people that are in bondage. And you think, and if you tend to be more Marxist in your thinking, you go, yeah, preach it. This is actually an anti-Marxist, anti-totalitarian argument, and anti-capitalist. In the old days, he says there was the commons, and they were shared. And the commons were kind of the means to production. Whatever you needed, there was space. There was land that was held in common, usually by the monarch or the municipality, that would be shared. It was shared by the community, and you could use it. It was free use. And that free use land allowed you to graze your sheep, make some wool, make a living, graze your cows, get some milk, make a living, and so on. It can be used for all kinds of ways of sustaining the community. Capital comes in and says, no, everything has to be privatized. You get this capitalist system where actually capital, money, finance becomes the means to production. And there is nothing held in common anymore. And I don't think that Belloc was a socialist. But he was just saying this is the dynamic that happens. And once people lose their means to production, they become alienated. They become individualized. Families are broken down. Communities are broken down, and so on. Okay, we're going somewhere with this, trust me. His argument is that the more and more capital becomes powerful, the more and more that we rely on capitalists, meaning we need them for finance, we need them for credit, we need them for employment. Gone are the cottage industries, gone are the individual ways that we would sustain ourselves, leveraging the commons and working together and trading and bartering and so on. It's very simplistic, I get it. But when that's all gone, individuals are vulnerable to the capitalists. And the capitalists want to make money. And so they're always looking for ways to get more money and extract it from the consumer, the people. What he identified is that eventually the people say, I'm beset upon. I have no way to fight back against the power of capital and the capitalists. Lo and behold, who can help me? And then the government pops in and says, well, we can help you. We can protect you against those mean, naughty capitalists. We're going to start to put regulations in place. We're going to put rules in place. We're going to defend you. We're going to make sure that you're guaranteed certain incomes and certain rights and so on. But Belloc's insight, and this dynamic is real, whether you agree with it or not, it's real. But his insight was genius, which is the state never comes in to protect the individual for free. There's always a cost to the individual. You're going to get something from the state. In this instance, we're getting protections from fake reviews and testimonials, but we are giving something up in the process. And what I think we are giving up here, When the government comes to the rescue, the Federal Trade Commission comes to the rescue, they're going to protect us from the scary AI bots and the phony Chinese testimonial, social media hack, whatever celebrity BS nonsense. We're giving up our power of free speech. And here's why. Today, the FTC is going to regulate the speech of businesses. It's going to say you are not allowed to say something false online. You are not allowed to misrepresent something online. You're not allowed to impersonate or create personas of people that don't exist. You're not allowed to leverage AI to put information out there that's not true. And if you do, we will drag you into court and we will break you. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, that today the FTC is going after businesses. Only 25 million small businesses will be affected of the 36 million or whatever the number is. That's today. But where you and I end up losing, we might get a short-term gain. We always get a short-term gain. Where we get a short-term gain is like, okay, now they're not allowed to fake us with AI testimonials. Like, I wasn't falling for those anyway, but okay. But they will come after you and I tomorrow if we say something that is deemed not true. If we say something that is not represented correctly. If we accept payment for something and say something. Look at YouTube. How many YouTubers make a living off of doing paid reviews? Lots of them. Now they'll tell you, hey, this is a sponsored video. This one's not. This is a sponsored video, but I'm allowed to say whatever I want. And I use the product and, oh, chef's kiss, best in the world. You know, and the great reviewers, the great ones like Marquez Brownlee. I love Marquez. He'll just come out and tell it like it is. That's fantastic. He'll shine stuff. He loves shining Apple. He loves shining. I mean, there's stuff he'll shine. I get it. But he's pretty honest, and you can usually tell from him that you're getting the truth. However, there are a lot of reviewers out there, a lot of, low-level and even high-level YouTubers that depend. They've got employees. They're making millions in top-line revenue. They make their living with this kind of stuff. They've got to play the game. FTC is saying, well, that's going away. Well, at some point that gets turned on you and I, because you and I say all kinds of nonsense online and we don't have to worry if it's true or not. Yeah, you're not allowed to slander. Yeah, you can get in trouble. If you live in England, you're not allowed to say anything naughty about any type of protected class of whatever, or else you get put in jail for the rest of your life. Long live liberty in England. Thank you, Magna Carta, I guess. But for the most part, Americans can say pretty much what they want. Well, that's going to go away because at some point the FTC is going to turn around and say, hey, we got rid of the small businesses that were doing all these naughty things. Now there's all these other bad actors that make for an unsafe environment online. So here's where I think it's going. There's only one way that they can solve this. There's only one way. They can say whatever they want about litigation and civil lawsuits, and here are the rulings. You're not allowed to do this. But in the end, they are going to require that you and I have verified digital identifications to be able to interact online. You're just not going to be able to use the means of communication and the means of production, which often are digital these days, online, connected, unless you've got a verified digital ID. That's where this is going. And once you've got a digital ID, well, then you could kiss free speech goodbye. You can kiss it goodbye. Because now you're going to be on the hook for everything you say. Look, our devices are listening to us. I'm putting stuff on YouTube. There's a catalog. Go to my podcast. My God, if you want to find unsavory things, that's a plug. I just think that the government getting involved in this is the wrong move. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not really sure. I don't know what the better solution is. If you have an idea, do me a favor, leave a comment down below in the comments. Love to discuss this. But I think we're heading to a bad place. I think that ultimately you and I are going to be the losers. Yes, it's bad to see these fake reviews and these AI-generated testimonials. They're only going to get more and more sophisticated. I get that, totally get that. But at the end of the day, there has to be a better solution than to get the FTC involved. And today they're going to be involved with businesses with questionable practices that, quite frankly, have been going on for decades now online. Buying likes. You know, you're going to buy likes, you're going to buy reviews, and somehow that goes away. Okay. But honestly, is this really what we want the government doing? Because they're not going to stop there. They're not going to stop there. They're coming after our speech. I can guarantee it. They're never satisfied. So what do we do? Is this a step in the wrong direction? What are your thoughts? And if you do agree that's a step in the wrong direction, what would be a better solution? Guys, if you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe. Even better yet, check out my newsletter. I've got a free newsletter. Just look down in the description to find the link to sign up. I post about once a week. Often it's similar types of thinking about politics, culture, strategy, business, entrepreneurship, wealth creation. We cover it all here at Gastin Industries. We don't get into health and love so much. Not my shtick. It's surprising for as beautiful as I am. But if you like my content, sign up for the newsletter. Love to have you join and jump aboard. Guys, love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being with me. Bless you all, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.